You saw the title, you know what this video is going to be about. So why fighting games in this huge market of games? Why Street Fighter over Call of Duty? Why Tekken over 2K? Why Jump Force over... not Jump Force. Don't play Jump Force, that game's awful. Anyways, to get back on topic, why fighting games? Alright, so before I get too ahead of myself, there's one thing I want to get out of the way first. Fighting games are hyper competitive. If you're not a very competitive person to begin with, you might not be a big fan of fighting games. Now of course, I'm not saying you shouldn't get into fighting games if you're not a very competitive person, because who knows. Maybe you'll find that you actually really like fighting games and find a newfound competitive drive. So the first thing I really love about fighting games is that everything is skill based. Well, almost everything. So there's no luck involved. If you lose, you just lost because you're worse than your opponent. You can whine and complain all you want about how broken the character is, but deep down, you know you just lost because you're worse. Like Newton's third law says, every action has an opposite reaction. This can be said for a lot of fighting games. Almost everything has counterplay. Oh, this move is so broken! Okay, then you learn the ins and outs of that move, and you learn to punish for that move. Oh, this character is so OP, they can do way too many things. Okay, then find the one thing they can't do and exploit it. Oh, my moves aren't working. Okay, then just get cleaner inputs. So you probably get the point now, everything's counterable. If you lose, you're just worse. This is what makes losing feel not as bad as other games to me. I know I'm not losing due to some stupid game mechanic, I'm just losing because I'm worse. I know I need to practice more to get better, and eventually I'll win. On the note of everything being skill-based, let's talk about skill ceiling. Skill ceiling is essentially the full potential or limit of a game. On the other hand, skill floor is how easy or hard it is to pick up a game. Think about the term easy to learn, hard to master. Easy to learn is a low skill floor and hard to master is a high skill ceiling. Fighting games generally have both a high skill floor and high skill ceiling. Obviously, some games are harder than others, but for newcomers to fighting games, all of it can be pretty hard to learn. So if you're a newcomer, don't let this intimidate you. It's incredibly satisfying when you can finally do that cool move or cool combo you've been wanting to do. So let's compare this to school for a second. I know a lot of you guys don't like school, but let's just make a comparison. So let's say there's this huge test that you have and you studied a week straight for it and you really spent a lot of time. Let's say you did good. It feels good, doesn't it? Okay, same thing can be said for a lot of fighting games. When you put in the work, you'll get results. And this is where the skill ceiling comes in. Working towards getting to that skill ceiling is a journey, to say the least, and it takes a lot of time to get really good at a fighting game. But that just makes it all the more satisfying in my opinion. You know that all those hours you put in grinding actually paid off. Another great part of a high skill ceiling is that unless you're the very best in the world, there's always something to be learned. Even if you are the very best in the world, you still might learn something. Just take a look at a game like Smash Melee. The game came out in 2001. The first ever tier list shown, according to the SSB Wiki, put Jigglypuff at a really low 17th out of 26 characters. Now looking at the recent tier list for Melee, Jigglypuff is now widely agreed to be one of the top 5 characters. Now keep in mind that Melee didn't receive patches throughout its game history. There weren't any buffs or nerfs to characters. The tier list simply just changed because people just learned more about the game. And why was there so much to learn? Because the skill ceiling was so high. Next thing that's great about fighting games to me is characters. This can especially be seen in the newer fighting games where the rosters are huge. I mean, just look at Smash Ultimate, there's 89 characters. Now that's a bit more of an extreme case, but most fighting games now generally have around 35 to 50-ish characters, give or take 10. And in games like BlazBlue Central Fiction, where every character is different and has a unique way of playing through the set, learning each character could take months or even years. Despite how different each character is, they generally all fall under what's called an archetype. There's a lot of different archetypes that you can see, but I'll just go over the most notable and popular ones. First up, we got the Shotos. Every fighting game has these, but the one you might know best is Ryu from Street Fighter. Shotos almost always have 3 core moves, a Fireball, a Dragon Punch, and a Tatsu. In very simple terms, a Fireball is just a projectile, a Dragon Punch is an anti-air, and a Tatsu is a move that moves them forward while attacking. So you might be asking, why are they in every fighting game? Good question. It's because Shotos rely mainly on fundamentals over character knowledge. They don't have any weird gimmicks and they just test your overall knowledge of the game. Another major archetype is the infamous Zoner. Zoners generally try to keep you away with the use of overwhelming projectiles. It's not always projectiles, but for the most part, it is projectiles. They want to control the stage with their long range. However, this range does come at a cost. Once you get in their face, it's really hard for the Zoner to do anything. Think about Zoners as a sniper class in shooters. The next archetype is the complete opposite of the Zoner. This is the Rushdown. Rushdowns want to get in your face with fast moves and movement. While Zoners overwhelm you with range, Rushdowns overwhelm you with speed. However, these characters tend not to have projectiles, and even if they do, it's not really the best. Next up, we have Grapplers. Grapplers have really low range because of their reliance of grabbing you. However, if they do get in range to grab you, they're going to dish out big damage. There's obviously slow grapplers and fast grapplers, but the point is that they all have low range, for the most part. Now, there's a lot more archetypes and sub-archetypes, but those are the main ones I wanted to talk about. Now that I've briefly gone over archetypes, I want to talk about matchups. This can be really tricky to learn when you're learning a new character. So if you don't know exactly what matchups are, in simple terms, it's just the way the characters interact with each other. For example, let's say there's a rushdown versus a grappler. Think about this for a second. Alright, so as I said earlier, grapplers have extremely limited range, but rushdowns want to get in your face. So in this scenario, the rushdown is doing the hard part of being a grappler. Now that the rushdown is in the grappler's face, the grappler is free to just grab them and dish out big damage. This isn't going to be the case in every game obviously, but it's just a general idea. Now let's switch it up a little bit. Let's say it's a grappler versus a zoner. Now the matchup is completely flipped upside down for the grappler. The grappler wants to get in to grab the zoner, but can't because of the zoner's range. Now think about this, but for a roster of around like 40 characters. Of course, each character is going to fall under a certain archetype, but that doesn't mean one rushdown character plays the exact same as another rushdown character. There may be one certain move that you have to watch out for no matter what with one character compared to another. This means that you have to learn the ins and outs of your own character so that you can learn the matchups. A part of fighting games that a lot of people even outside of the fighting game community seem to know about is execution. This can be most similarly compared to mechanics in League of Legends or aim in Overwatch. Doing one special move input can be pretty easy, just a simple quarter circle. Now let's take a look at the inputs of a combo string. Yeah, it's pretty safe to say that you need to be really fast and really precise to pull off big combos. What a lot of new players tend to do is button mash. Justin Wong, one of the most respected fighting game pros in the community, said this in one of his videos. I'll put the link to the video in the bio and there should be a pop-up with that video right now.
When you waste button presses, you are going to pretty much losing on like accuracy. Your accuracy is going to be lowered when you want to do a specific combos.
I especially like that he said that button mashing reduces accuracy. In fighting games, precision is vastly important, but as I said, you can't just be precise, you have to be fast as well. Finding the balance of speed and precision can be hard. This just means that you have to put in the hours to clean up your inputs with speed. And there is more to it than just being fast and precise. There's a thing in fighting games called animation canceling. Animation canceling is the act of canceling an animation of a move to put out another move faster. This is hugely important in a lot of combos. So let me demonstrate this on a practice dummy right now. As you can see, the first clip doesn't actually count as a combo. This is because the opponent was able to recover from the first move before the second move hit. However, if we look at this second clip, you'll notice that it's a real combo. This is because the animation was cancelled and the opponent wasn't able to recover from the first move fast enough before the next one hit. So you might be asking yourself, how do you animation cancel? Instead of waiting for the next move to finish and then inputting the next move, you preemptively input the next move so that an animation cancels from the first move. This just adds another layer of execution that you need to practice. So let's say you finally are able to do the combo you've been practicing on the dummy with. You're feeling good about it until you try to pull off that combo in game. It's a lot harder doing the combo against someone trying to defend and fight back. This means that you have to drill that combo into your muscle memory until it's practically second nature. Practice is the name of the game when it comes to execution in fighting games. And like I said earlier, you just have to put in the hours to get better. So if you don't know what neutral is, it's a state in which neither player is in an advantageous state or a disadvantaged state. This will generally lead to a rock, paper, scissors match. But instead of rock, paper, scissors, let's just say it's attack, block, grab. Attack beats grab, grab beats block, and block beats attack. Now it's not always as concrete as this, as there's always going to be certain exceptions, but let's just keep it that simple for now. So the big part of neutral is that you're playing mind games with your opponent. There's something called conditioning in fighting games where you intentionally repeat a pattern in order to make your opponent pick up on that pattern. If you condition your opponent enough, you can throw them off with something unexpected. They might have been expecting what you were conditioning them with, but instead you hit them with that unexpected move, and now they're in trouble. You might have heard me talking about advantage and disadvantage earlier. Both are pretty self-explanatory, but if you don't get it, I'll explain. Advantage means you're on offense, and disadvantage means you're on defense. Some characters have better advantage in exchange for worse disadvantage, and vice versa. So with this huge market of games and so many more to come, why would you ever choose fighting games over the other games? Well, to be quite honest, there's no right answer. You can play fighting games for any reason you want, but hopefully this video helped you answer that question.
You should kill yourself now. literally is as valuable as a summer ant.